these lights make making eye contact with, especially these people over here, really challenging. So I have the ball cap, so I can see who's not listening, who's talking. Yeah, you. What are you doing? You're catching up. That's good. I'm glad. This floor is mine. I kind of feel at home sitting on this table on the stage. A little bit. Partially because I've got a lot I'd love to share, and a lot I'd love to say, and feels like all this work that needs doing, and I want to talk about it. And I keep, somehow only finding venues where they're like, you got 8 minutes, and I'm like, shit. I should really do something about that. But I've mentioned this 2, 3, 4 times that I am an alien. I was not born on this planet Earth, and I don't think people usually believe me. But I was born here, and I didn't feel at home for the longest time. I felt like this all the time. I didn't know how to talk to people at all. I had one friend in grade school, and it was the person that my mom said, you're going to be friends with him. And my friend Jeffrey was the gentlest, kindest, most pure soul I've ever met. And so it was just me and him, and I didn't know how to talk to anyone else, and he didn't really either. So, that worked out well, being an alien, being matched up with someone so kind and so beautiful. I've never met anyone else like him. And then high school happened, and I didn't have a lot of friends. A little bit. College was excruciating. Being alone and feeling like this all the time, and not knowing why, is kind of exhausting. I would often drug myself in one way or another, food, TV, something. I'm curious if I'm the only one who felt this way growing up, that there's something really wrong with our society. Like, I remember having this thought. It was sort of like a thought that wasn't really in words, it was just kind of in feeling. As a toddler, it was like, everything's fucked up. Except like I didn't have those words when I was 2, 3, 4. But it was like, and then going to school, some part of me was like aware of like, there are children my age starving in Africa, and we're doing this thing over here and not talking about it. And I was like, and I didn't know how to talk to kids, and it wasn't like that. But now that I'm 32, as of a few days ago,
birthday, belated.
I can put words to it. Like, I'm deeply and profoundly irritated by the fact that we're not talking about these injustices all the fucking time. But it took a while for me to be able to say that on a stage, in a room filled with people who may or may not be paying attention to me. I want to tell you about the experience of coming home a little bit. I did a lot of traveling after graduating college. The journey was accidental and guided by so many things, and I'd love to tell the story. Someday I'll get to do the whole suite. But I'm going to jump to a point. I was in Twist, Washington, home of the lead singer of Chumbawamba, who I met and got to give a whiskey drink to. And I met him on the day of the 25th anniversary of that song, and he agreed to sing it anyway. Tangent. I was in TWISP with a primitive skills class. There's a woman named Lynx Bilden who for like the last probably about 25 years, Chumbawamba, has been basically immersing herself in primitive skills around the world. For about 15, 20 years. She didn't have a house or a place. She had a burrow, and she would pack it and go out to places, and as much as the land would allow for one person, learn how to live off the land. Skills that most people think are irrelevant or insignificant. Maybe they don't think this, but they're not practiced, they're not maintained. And I was curious to meet this woman, and my whole being at this point was like on fire with global warming and injustice and peak oil and economic collapse and everything's going fucked and what do we do? How do we respond? And I'm like on fire and dying in agony. Inside. On the outside it's just like, hi. How's it going? I'm Michael. What's with this guy? So I was in TWISP in the forest, and there was a guy there whose name might have been Brandon? Feel a little bad I've forgotten his name. He was wearing just a loincloth, and he had hair everywhere, and he didn't talk a lot either. I didn't know how to approach him. It was like, who's this guy? But he was in the camp. We were taking a horse out on a trail, and coming back, we got to talking a little bit, and I shared with him just a little bit of, some of the thoughts I was having about what I should be doing, and after about a minute and a half, he's like, do you want to hear? He asked me, this is what he did. He asked me about my relationship with the Virgin Mary, and I was like, what? I was raised Catholic. Kind of walked away from it, but Mary always seemed really kind and loving. And he's like, and then he asked, do you want me to share my opinion or my thoughts about you? I was like, yeah, I do. Like, no expectation. This came out of left field. I was like, okay, yeah. And he said, you have a really strong feminine energy, and I don't think you appreciate that enough. I think you worry a lot about what you need to do and don't necessarily appreciate the value of just you caring. About 2 months later, I had, in a intense, crippling depression, fog, fugue, state type thing, left my partner in California and my friends in California where I had been living to return to my parents' house in Ohio. This was October of 2012. And so I'm 28, and I'm a bald virgin who's unemployed and doesn't have a career path, and economic collapse is going to be happening, and we're all going to be fighting and killing each other. But before that happens, I'm going to be in this depressed state, and it's just like, all life is hell, and everything is shit, and I can't fucking live in Akron. There's nothing to goddamn do in Akron. I hate Akron. I can't live here. Cuyahoga Falls is terrible. Everything is awful. That's kind of where I was at in October of 2012. Less comedic, more hit of despair, although that was funny too. I imagine you know what that's like when the voices come in from all sides and everything is black and it's like your entire being is wrong. Skipping ahead just a little bit, December. I had had some experiences and stuff that was valuable. Brought me back to December. I was feeling terrible, a lot of suicidal thoughts, and I had the notion to play it out. I didn't have a gun, but I sat on the floor, and I imagined there was a table in front of me, and there was a gun on the table. And I picked up the gun, and I imagined putting it to my head, and I asked myself, just like I asked myself, would I be willing to do this? And I could feel viscerally the no coming up inside of me. And then I asked myself, then why do you keep... What I said was, why do you keep doing this to yourself? The binging, the everything. And what came out of me was, because I'm in pain! And I don't think I had ever heard that voice. Really heard that voice. And it wasn't just my voice, but it was my voice. I was hurting myself because I was in pain. I wasn't doing it because I was a bad person. I wasn't doing it because I was trying to hurt myself or punish myself. I was doing it to try and ease the pain. And there is so much pain in this world. Being white, being educated, being privileged, I can be a peace activist who doesn't have a regular career because I've got skills that I can fall back on, maybe, if I don't fall into depression and all the shit, plus with all the other shit, right? Because it's all there, it's looming. I don't want to ignore it. I want to look at it, I want to talk about it, and I want to find people who want to deal with it. Because I think we all do. I think we all want to live in that beautiful world that we know is possible. The home that I came from, that alien world in front of us that I want to go back to. A beautiful world. I carry with me the people who aren't here. I try to. The people who are hurting, the people who don't have their voices heard, people who died, people who may die. I try and carry them with me in my heart, and I want to encourage other people to do likewise. I want to apologize for my bag of things. I'm really looking forward to sharing with you some of the artifacts from my home planet and some of their stories. These are great stories. I got the best stories. I know the best people. You know, truly the best people. I love Donald Trump. We are going to make America great again. And he can take as much credit as he wants, because when a country gets better, we all win. Tangent. I really appreciate your attention, being willing to put up with me screaming. Maybe that gives you a little idea of what that scream was about in the last show with the mask and the demented Christmas carols. And maybe y'all can help me figure out how I can share stories that you might like to hear, how I can share tools, ideas, how we can collaborate to help make Akron, Ohio, United States, and the whole planet better for everyone. Because that's the game I'm playing.